Good evening and welcome. You're with the News First, your number one news provider. I'm Shamir Rasuldi.
And I'm Gayatri Ratna. Well, several casualties reported following the large explosion that took place near government headquarters in the Norwegian capital Oslo.
The blast is thought to have caused damage to the offices of Norwegian Prime Minister Jens Stoltenberg and a number of other government buildings.
We will have the developments of this story in a moment, but first of all, we start off with a look at the headlines.
All arrangements have been made for tomorrow's local government election. Voting will take place from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. The U.S. Congress House Foreign Affairs Committee votes to ban aid to Sri Lanka. The opposition leader inquires in Parliament as to whether $700 million from the foreign reserves have been sold. Several compartments of a train damaged in a fire that took place at the Kandy railway station.
A large explosion has taken place near government headquarters in the Norwegian capital Oslo.
According to reports, one person was confirmed killed in the explosion. The blast is thought to have caused damage to the offices of Norwegian Prime Minister Jens Stoltenberg and a number of other government buildings.
Initial reports suggested that the Prime Minister was unharmed.
However, witnesses said at least 8 people were injured in the city's centre explosion.
Television footage from the scene showed rubble and glass from shattered windows in the streets. Smoke was also seen around some buildings.
The wreckage of at least one car was seen in the street.
Responsibility has not been claimed by any organisation as yet.
Has there been any reaction or response yet from your government? We're being told that the Prime Minister, Jens Stoltenberg, is safe, but have they commented yet?
No, that's the only comment from the government so far, is that the Prime Minister is safe. That's the only comment from the government so far. I guess they also would need some more information about what has actually happened before they can comment further on this.
Now, as soon as we heard of this blast, News First spoke to Sri Lanka's ambassador in Norway, Rodney Pereira, who was in close proximity to this blast.
A little while ago, there was a large explosion, large sound that we heard. We were all in the embassy, and we thought since it's raining that it may be thunder. But then a few minutes later, we were told that there was a big explosion, and it now appears to be a big bomb explosion in the center of the city, where some ministries and government buildings are located, including the office of the Prime Minister, Jens Stoltenberg. And there is extensive damage to buildings and other properties. The police have covered that area. From the scene, it looks like the visuals we have looked at, and with the experience we have had in Sri Lanka, it looks like a large bomb has exploded because there's a lot of glass that is shattered, and the destruction looks tremendous. And so investigations are on the way. We are waiting for some more development, and we are also prioritizing our embassy work to ensure that Sri Lankans in Oslo are okay. We are keeping a very important eye on that also.
Elections that were postponed for 65 local government bodies will take place tomorrow. According to the Election Secretariat, voters must present a valid identification document to exercise their franchise during this election. www.newsfirst.lk has made all arrangements to post the election results as soon as they are released.
The
election will be held from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. tomorrow. Once polling ends, the ballot boxes will be taken to counting centres. The counting is expected to commence by 6 p.m. If the weather conditions are good and if there are no other hindrances, we will be able to release the first election result by 10 p.m. We hope to release all election results by 6 a.m. on the 24th.
In Jaffna, elections will be conducted for 3 urban councils and 13 Pradeshia Sabhas.
News First Ramesh Rugal Bandar, who is in Jaffna, filed this report early in the day of the election preparations activities for tomorrow's poll.
All preparations have been made to
conduct the local government election 2011 for 3 urban councils and 13 Pradesh Sabhas in the Jaffna district. News First, of course, is in the Jaffna district and will bring you the very latest on the election activities taking place tomorrow. I'm Ramesh Galbandara for News First from Jaffna.
The Kilinochchi district has been drawing quite a lot of attention during this local government election. 38 representatives will be elected to 3 Pradesh Sabhas in the Kilinochchi district. Earlier, this area was included in the Jaffna electorate. However, this time Kilinochchi has been made a separate district. We are ready for the local government election. 1 Pradesh Sabha in the Mullaitiru district, 2 in the Ampara district and 4 Pradesh Sabhas in the Trincomalee district are also up for grabs at tomorrow's poll. In the Colombo district, the election will be held for the Kaduvilla Municipal Council, Kasbava Urban Council and Homagama Pradesh Sabha. Meanwhile, in Gampaha, elections will be conducted for the Minuwangoda Urban Council and the Attanagala Pradesh Sabha. Meanwhile, elections will also be held for the Akurasa Pradesh Sabha in Mathara and Alpitia, Baddegam and Akmimana Pradesh Sabhas in Gaul. 3 Pradesh Sabhas in the Kandy district are also up for grabs and 55 members will be elected. Elections will be held in the Talawakale Lidula Pradesh Sabha in the Nuwara district. 23 local government representatives will be elected to 2 Pradesh Sabhas in the Mathale district. Meanwhile, ballot boxes were transported from the Monaragala district secretariat this morning for elections in the Simbala Andua and Monaragala Pradesh Sabhas. 57 members are to be elected to 3 Pradesh Sabhas and 1 urban council in the Ratnapura district. In the Kegol district, polling will be carried out for the Kegol Urban Council and Varakapol and Ruanvela Pradesh Sabhas. This is how several other districts prepared for tomorrow's local government elections.
Well, People's Action for Free and Fair Elections, or PAFREL, charges that both ruling party members as well as opposition members have little regard for election laws. Speaking at a media briefing held today, its executive director, Rohana Hettiarachchi, pointed out that the election laws need to be amended.
Under the existing system, everyone is trying to use their maximum strength and money to emerge victorious. The Elections Commissioner has acted in a fair manner. However, the candidates are not paying much attention towards that. Not only ruling party members but opposition members too do not pay much attention to election laws.
Meanwhile, a complaint has been lodged with the police that an unidentified group had attacked a United National Party candidate contesting the Kegol Urban Council. The candidate, Ushan Ranatunga, said that a group had arrived at his residence at around 3:30 this morning and had attacked him and his supporters and fled. Meanwhile, another group had damaged the vehicle of former chairman of the Akmimana Pradesh Sabha, Milinda Hapatantri, who is contesting on the United People's Freedom Alliance ticket. According to Hapatantri, a group had arrived at his office located in the Pinnaduwa area this morning and had assaulted his supporters and subsequently damaged the vehicle. The police said that a complaint had been lodged in this regard.
You're with News First, taking a look at one of our headline stories this evening. A U.S. congressional committee voted yesterday to ban aid to Sri Lanka unless the nation shows accountability of the bloodshed in the final stages of the war in 2009. AFP reports that in a voice vote, the House of Foreign Affairs Committee approved a measure that would ban all U.S. government funding to Sri Lanka except for humanitarian aid, demining, and activities to promote democracy and governance.
The measure, sponsored by Representative Howard Berman, the top member of President Barack Obama's Democratic Party, on the panel, would only allow aid once the administration certifies progress by Sri Lanka on key concerns. The concerns include accountability for those involved in violations of human rights and war crimes at the end of Sri Lanka's war, including members of the defeated LTTE. Other criteria include an improved climate for freedom of the press, an end to the emergency regulations, and information from the government on the fate of people unaccounted for at the end of the war. According to the report published by AFP, the U.S. Agency for International Development has requested close to $13 million for Sri Lanka in the 2010 fiscal year. While the House measure enjoyed broad support, it will not immediately take effect, as it was in the form of an amendment for spending in the next fiscal year starting October. A final package will come through lengthy negotiations between the House of Representatives and the Senate.
Now, when contacted for his reaction of the decision taken by the House Foreign Affairs Committee of the U.S. Congress, Deputy Minister of External Affairs Nimal Pereira said that there was no reason to ban aid to Sri Lanka.
With reference to the Congress decision taken yesterday by the Foreign Affairs Committee, the restrictions of aid to countries where there are no accountability, we are very happy to say that we have been following the LLRC recommendations, and also there are interim recommendations which have been given by the LLRC with reference to the human rights and accountability and also rehabilitation of the North and East, and also